رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This is Sister Yasmina Isa, and I'm so glad to be welcoming you today to the third episode of MBMuslima TV. Today's topic is really exciting for me because it actually stems from an article, a blog post that I wrote on mbmuslima.com back in December 2012. So that's almost 2 years ago. Now, the title of this blog post was If Not Now, When? And it was very popular. Many people emailed me back about it. There are a good amount of comments on it. It just really clicked with a lot of people. And so let me tell you about it, inshallah, and there will be a link down below where you could read about it. So, if not now, when? Is a quote. And really just a way of thinking. You know, when I hear that, I think like, okay, if you're planning to do something in the future, like so many of us, we plan to do things in the future. You know, if we're not going to do it now, when are we going to do it? You know, it's kind of about human deferment. And I know this quote is the reason why I started wearing hijab when I did. Back in 2009, the same time as the inception of MBMuslima, the magazine, you know, and this is the same time, several months after, you know, myself personally reconnecting with Islam, you know, I was convicted that I needed to wear hijab, you know, and I knew this. I, you know, came to this conclusion at that time, the same time that MBMuslima launched. And so the interesting thing is, though, is that initially I just knew when I made that decision back in July, I believe it was, of 2009, I knew, okay, yeah, I should be wearing hijab. Of course, it's an obligation. And so, and that might sound silly to some of you, but the thing is that, you know, I grew up in a very religious household, parents that, you know, practiced the deen and whatnot, but nonetheless, I was never actually told to start wearing hijab. And, you know, that's really not that uncommon, you know, culturally speaking. You know, my culture, I'm Egyptian, a lot of people, especially from my parents' generation, like my mother's generation, didn't really start wearing hijab till they were much older, and, you know, even if they were very modest and whatnot. So it really is not that uncommon. My mother's story is actually interesting too, because for her, she started wearing hijab in her 30s when she was living, you know, several years after she was living here in the United States. And for her, you know, she would go to the masjid and obviously wear a hijab in the masjid. For those of you who don't know what a masjid is, it's the mosque. And so, but then she would obviously take that hijab off afterwards. And my mother, she is such a straightforward person. She likes to, you know, be the same everywhere. And so for her, it was really strange that she was only wearing it there and then not otherwise. And so, you know, that's what got her to wear it. You know, even though she's always been, you know, working and successful, and that didn't stop her at all, because she's a real trooper. I can't go an episode without talking about her. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. So anyway, the thing is that I knew in July of 2009 that I was going to start wearing hijab. But in my mind, I was thinking like, yeah, I'm going to wear it down, you know, down the line. And I really started to think about this, and I realized it made absolutely no sense to say that. Now, before I lose some attention of some people who don't care about hijab, I want to let you know this episode actually has nothing to do about hijab. This story is simply an entry point, my way to connect the main point. So literally, if you don't care about my story, I'm not offended. But if you're a brother, if you're not a Muslim, if you're, you know, this just isn't interesting to you, I promise you what we're going to get to will be interesting for you. And that's because we're talking about something that applies to all human beings. So just bear with me and my story for a little bit longer. So anyway, I started wearing hijab, and I'm sorry, not yet. So I, you know, started thinking like, okay, if I know I'm going to wear hijab, why on earth would I wait to wear hijab? That makes no sense. If I'm convicted, I should be convicted to do it now. And the quote, if not now, when, really pushed me. And so once I really thought about that, I started wearing hijab 2 weeks later. Now the thing is I started wearing it 2 weeks later because I wanted to wear it on the very first day of Ramadan, which was in 2 weeks. I know that's very cliche. Looking back at it now, I don't think I would have waited 2 weeks just because we're not promised tomorrow. But nonetheless, that was, me as a cliche 20-year-old, I believe, in 2009. So anyway, that quote is all about human deferment. It's about so many times we push things off, we procrastinate them, we dabble, dip our feet into different things, but we don't put both feet in. So really, this is just about understanding that all of us, we all have deferments. It's human nature to defer things. And really, what we want to be doing is we want to be taking action. One of my favorite quotes is that clarity comes through action. It doesn't come by overthinking or waiting for the perfect circumstances. It really comes by going in and doing what you need to do. So my question for you is, what have you been deferring? What is your hijab story? What have you been holding off or putting off or not really doing? And I'm going to read a couple of comments that I got back in 2012 on that blog post. A couple other things I shared here was maybe these are, I shared a couple examples of what might be your deferments. I wrote, maybe you want to start a blog. Maybe you want to start praying Fajr, the first, prayer early in the dawn. Maybe you want to start spending more time with your family. Have you been telling yourself that for a while? Maybe you want to pray Sunnah. Maybe you want to make more dhikr. Maybe you want to embrace your artistic side, which I've been doing, if you can't see that behind me. Maybe you want to learn Arabic. Maybe you want to go back to school. Maybe you want to eat healthier. Maybe you want to heal a damaged relationship with a family member. Maybe you want to do something special for a loved one, volunteer, write a book, read more Quran, start a business, hit the gym, travel this beautiful world. It doesn't really matter what you want to do, you just need to do it, and all you really need to do is take the first step. You don't need to see the whole staircase, just the very first step is all you need to take. So, let me see here. Some comments I received from people. Layla wrote, she wants to pray Fajr early instead of the last 15 minutes before sunrise. What's interesting is I got so many comments from people, and this, like I said, back in 2012, December. I wonder how many people actually executed this and how many are still being deferred, because it's really not uncommon for us to have things being deferred 2 years, 3 years. There's many people, and we want to just, many people that might be doing that, and we want to realize, one, it's human nature, so it's hard not to defer things. I'm not saying it's easy, but we're here not to just talk about the easy things. We're here to push forward and really accelerate and excel where it matters. Fatima also shared, I enrolled in an online diploma of Islam and I've been putting it off. In parentheses, she writes, laziness, unfortunately. I really need to start completing the course to learn more about Islam. Medina wrote, Assalamu alaikum. Well, there's a lot I want to do. Sometimes I keep writing to-do notes, which sometimes I complete and sometimes I don't. And let's see here. Mahreem wrote she wants to go back to school for her master's degree. With her career in full force, she wrote that it's very difficult to find the time required to get into a grad school program. And that's really interesting. And let's see. What's interesting is maybe she's done this already. If she enrolled shortly after this, she would be done now. If she hasn't, she's exactly where she is. So just to put it into perspective. Let's see. Yusuf wrote she needs to get a new job and move to a larger Muslim community. She's an RN, a registered nurse, and she applied for her license in New York because her and her husband don't want to raise their son in Louisiana, where she was. Claudia wrote that she wants to write a book and that she gets new ideas every day, but her lame excuses stop her. DG, initials DG wrote, I would like to begin my day with reading Quran. I did it in Ramadan and it felt wonderful. Beginning my day with reading with Ramadan. Since then, life, shaitan, laziness, anything or everything has gotten in the way and I have not been doing it regularly. B wrote she wants to read, or he, read more Quran, pray more, go to the gym, eat healthier, travel more, be more spiritual. I hope I could do all of these things. And there's some other comments, but I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm going to actually ask you to do the same thing. Tell me, what have you been deferring? You know, share it in the comments below, and let's work together. Let's help each other move forward and get where we want to go. And remember, it's all about the process. It's not actually about accomplishing. Okay, it is about accomplishing things, but it's more about moving forward. Really, the process is where everything is so amazing, and this life is not meant to be perfect. We're not meant to have everything, but really the process is really what's so beautiful. So, Jazakallah khair. Thank you for listening in today, and I guess watching in as well. And I look forward to hearing from you in the comments. Everyone has their own deferment, me included. So I'm going to think, and I'm also going to write in the comments below. And you can find a link to the actual original blog post down below in the description as well. And on top of that, I am running a 3-week course for women on mind, body, soul health. So many good things that we'll be doing in January. And if you want more information about that, please, feel free to check out the link below if you're interested in detoxing the healthy way, balancing your hormones, eating healthy, getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Other than that, I will see you next time, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.